going on, Jerome's? Audio only, raw, real rant. If only there was a name for audio only podcasts. Don't know. Don't know. And if only there was a way that it was transmitted to people's radios in their cars. Yeah. Anyways, a big question today is what's going to happen with slinging Sammy Darnold and the franchise tag. So the franchise tag window opens today, 3 p.m. Central Time, which is the only time zone that matters. It's open for 2 weeks, and TBD what the Vikings are going to do. Now, it's a deadline-driven league, so honestly, I think if the Vikings are going to tag Sam Darnold, I think they may wait until the end of it, March 4th in 2 weeks. But you never know, I guess. And when that window opens, maybe the Vikings just put the tag on him because we want to keep our options open. And I don't think that the Vikings would bring Darnold back on the tag, guesstimated at $41 million for a quarterback. Now, by the time you hear this, they'll have the official numbers out. Or transition tag, which will be around $36 million for 2025. Now, with the franchise tag, you do have that exclusive negotiating window, right? And another team would come in, sign up to an offer sheet, and you get 2 first-round picks if you don't match it. But that never goes down that way, right? So it would basically, if you're tagging Darnold, whether franchise or transition, it's a spot where you're opening negotiations with other teams about a tag and trade situation, and that's what the Vikings are going to be doing. Because I think it's extremely unlikely that Darnold plays on the franchise tag, maybe transition tag, but I think if Darnold is back, it'll be on a cheap extension, whether a 1 or 2 year deal, don't know. But even I think that that's an extremely low chance. I think that basically if Darnold is tagged, it's only to facilitate a tag and trade. And likely something is already in the works if that happens. And otherwise, it's just going to be J.J. McCarthy's show, like with Daniel Jones back. It's probably what's going to go down. And what I mean by something already in the works is that Kwesi has already been on the road with his GMs, whether at games, Senior Bowl, Shrine Bowl, wherever. And teams that could be interested in tagging and trading for a tagged Darnold are out there. Whether it's the Raiders, Steelers, Titans, lots of teams, right? And the thing about it is, why would a team willingly give up draft capital and then have to pay Sam Darnold? Well, for a couple of reasons. Number one, if they get a deal done now, which, by the way, Darnold and his agent would be fully engaged in, and the Vikings aren't going to tag and trade Darnold to someplace where he doesn't want to go because it doesn't make any sense, right? Because part of the value of Darnold being traded for is that you work out a long-term extension. And it's not going to cost 2 ones. It's just ridiculous. Because I love when they talked about Lamar getting the exclusive franchise tag, whereas 2 ones. Why wouldn't a team pay 2 ones for Sam Darnold or Lamar Jackson? Because the Ravens were never going to let him go. Basically, they were just putting that out there and letting other teams come in and bid so that they didn't have to negotiate with Lamar. That's what they were doing. And no team wanted to do that because they knew that the Ravens were never letting Lamar go. And if they put in a bid for Lamar and didn't get him, then they'd have to explain to the next quarterback and the fan base, it's like, it was never going to happen, right? So with Darnold, why would the team give up draft capital and then pay Darnold? Well, it's so that you don't have to worry about open free agency. And then anything goes. Now, obviously, wherever Darnold's tagged and traded to and signs an extension, that's where he wants to be. That's where he wants to go to. And what it is that the Vikings would be doing this as opposed to just letting him leave free agency so that they can accelerate that nice in terms of compensation. Because if Darnold leaves open free agency, the Vikings could be in line for a 3rd-round comp pick in 2026. Now, that isn't guaranteed because basically comp picks are if you have a surplus of players on expiring contracts that leave versus players on expiring contracts that you sign and bring in, then you get some compensation, up to 4 picks, and the maximum is the highest is a back end of the 3rd-round pick, right? So what the Vikings are likely going to get in the Kirk Cousins deal, right? Now for the Vikings, they are likely going to be huge players of free agency this offseason. They got the capital. They're going to go after things and go do it. So it could be canceling it out, Darnold leaving. Even though the Vikings, you look at Cam Robinson, maybe Cam Beasley, look at Byron Murphy, like there's going to be some significant free agents on expiring deals that leave, right? But for the Vikings, why risk it? Also, if you can get that draft capital back now in 2025, a spot where you only have 4 draft picks, yes, you absolutely should and could do that. So basically, the starting and ending point for negotiation should at least be a 3rd round pick, because that's what the Vikings could get in 2026. So 3rd round pick, maybe a little bit more. Certainly would take a third and a 4th, 3rd and a 5th, somewhere in there for Darnold. And if you're the Raiders or the Titans or the Steelers or any team TBD that's going to be really interested in Darnold, I feel like that's a very small amount to pay to get your guy, right? Because if you're able to secure Darnold within this window before free agency opens, and you discuss things with his agent, you get a long-term deal hammered out in principle, and then he accepts, the Vikings accept the trade offer, then all of a sudden you don't have to worry about open free agency. You don't have to worry about other teams driving up the price. And if you're Darnold, I mean, yeah, you could want to hit open free agency and maximize your value, or you could still pick your team now and get things all sutured up, because wild things can happen in free agency. And sometimes teams go a different direction versus the one they initially wanted, and maybe the team that Darnold wants to go to, maybe they have a change of heart. Maybe they go a different direction. Maybe they spend money elsewhere. Maybe it's a team like the Raiders at 6. They're like, okay, you know what, Sam, we kind of wanted you, but now we changed our mind, and we're going to go after a quarterback in the draft. All right. So basically, it's a spot where, get your money now. It's 877 cash now, and just get it done. All right. So I think that the Vikings are going to weigh all options. I don't think that Darnold plays with the Vikings on the franchise tag, and low chance on the transition tag. That's what happens. So basically, the Vikings are probably going to stretch things out for 2 weeks, because that's what they always do. Or kind of be great to be surprised, and then all of a sudden they just tag him today. It'd be kind of hilarious. But if the Vikings do that, I think that they're going to be open for business. And what's great too, as long as Darnold doesn't sign the tag, they can rescind it at any time. So say that in principle, verbally, Kwesi has some trade offers for a tag and trade for Darnold. But if they tag him and those deals fall through, which can happen, they aren't fully committed. As long as he doesn't sign it, they can rescind that tag and be good to go in that direction. But we'll see what happens today. There's going to be tags flying around. I'm sure some teams will apply it. Will it be the Vikings? Guess we're going to find out. But that's it. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skol. No production.